So on August 16th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, we are in for an absolute treat with a banger of a fight in the heavyweight division with Moses Itamua, the young man who's been compared to Mike Tyson. He is destroying everyone. He is looking absolutely phenomenal. He is in action against the man who's failed more drug tests than Lance Armstrong himself, the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte. It's a fascinating fight. It's a fight you can't take your eyes off because with Moses, we just don't know how good he is. He hasn't went past 6 rounds. However, Dillian has looked awful recently and Moses has looked so good and he's getting better all the time. Can Dillian pull off an upset? Can he shock the world? Obviously not, but let's talk about it anyway. So the body snatcher Dillian Whyte currently has a record of 31-3 with 21 wins coming via knockout. Last time out against Ebenezer Tete, he looked like a shot fighter. He got the win via a 7th round stoppage, but he looked as slow as ever, very sluggish. It looked like he'd lost his power. He couldn't put a dent in Tete at all, which is a worry because Fraser Clark in April stopped Tete inside a round, and Tete is about 407 years old. So yeah, pretty worrying for Dillian, and he also looked completely done against Christian Hammer. He stopped him inside 3 rounds. Hammer quit on his stool in very similar fashion to Tete. Again, just an awful fight, awful level of opposition. Dillian did get the win, but my God, I mean, Hammer made it easy for him. And even in his fight before that against Jermaine Franklin, I didn't think Dillian looked great. He won a majority decision there. I thought he lost that fight 115-113. But that was his first fight since losing to Tyson Fury. That was his world title shot. That was the biggest fight of his career. And Dillian didn't perform. He didn't show up. That was a very good version of Fury that night. He knocked out Dillian with an uppercut in round 6. And it was all just a bit bizarre from Dillian. He came out as a southpaw in round 1. Fury just laughed at him, schooled him, and then stopped him. I think, to be honest, the best version of Dillian Whyte wouldn't have touched Tyson Fury, but he didn't really leave it all out in the ring. And even in the build-up, he barely turned up to any press duties. He didn't say a word. There was no trash talk against Fury. He refused to sell the fight. And that's very unlike Dillian because as we've seen against Derek Chisora, they were 2 of the best build-ups you will ever see, 2 of the best fights you will ever see. The first one, I thought Del Boy won, but it was close. The second one, Del Boy was winning and then got caught with a left hook from hell in round 11. And around that time, Dillian Whyte was a force to be reckoned with. He was a pay-per-view superstar. He was fighting constantly in massive fights. He's also got a really good win over Joseph Parker back in 2018. That was a really good fight. Dillian boxed out of his skin that night, dropping Parker twice. One of those knockdowns was a naughty forearm rather than a punch, and he also got knocked down in round 12, but nonetheless hung on and won a unanimous decision. And before that, he knocked out Lucas Brown in 6 rounds, sending his head back to Australia like a boomerang with another brutal left hook. I mean, that left hook of Dillian's back in the day was a weapon of mass destruction. And of course, Dillian does have other losses on his record other than the Fury one. He did actually lose to AJ in 7 rounds back in 2015, but he did hurt AJ with a left hook in round 2. I mean, the left hook is the story of Dillian Whyte's career, as is getting knocked out with an uppercut. And it's mad how every single time he's been chinned, it's been that same shot. It was a right uppercut with AJ, then it was a left uppercut with Povetkin, and then a right uppercut again with Fury. To be fair, he did avenge the Povetkin loss, which was the last time Dillian actually looked good. And that is a worry because that was 4 years ago now. And going into this fight against Moses, I just don't think it's going to end well for Dillian. I really don't. He's not actually faced a southpaw since he faced Thomas Mrazek. That was back in 2014, and Mrazek ended his career with a record of 10-74-6. And that is actually the only southpaw Dillian's ever faced. So for me, he's bang up against it. I mean, Moses is very green. He's very young. He's very inexperienced. I think Dillian's got to stick it on Moses, and it might get him knocked out inside a round. But if he is aggressive, and if he roughs up Moses, if he can take him into the second half of the fight, he's always going to have a puncher's chance because of that left hook. And especially if it goes late. But, I mean, what is the chances of Dillian catching him with that left hook? And even if he does, we've seen Ebenezer Tete take Dillian's power no problem in his last fight. So, for me, it's a massive ask. But, of course, in the heavyweight division, anything can happen. So, Moses Itamua has a record of 12-0 with 10 wins coming via knockout. At only 20 years old, he has already impressed the boxing world with his sensational power, fantastic hand speed, fantastic footwork. he does look like the absolute bollocks. But the level of opposition obviously hasn't been the best. For someone who's just 20 years old, I actually think he's fought at a really high level. But when you've been touted to be the next king of the heavyweight division after Usyk, and people are saying that he beat Joseph Parker now and could be fighting Usyk next, Mike Balogun, Dempsey McKean, Marius Wack, they're not massive names, they're not great fighters. But so far he's ticked every box. He's only went the distance twice, both in 6-rounders. He's a southpaw, he's a fantastic boxer, technically brilliant, very mature for his age, and I think he will walk through Dillian with no problem at all. I just think he's too young, too fresh, too good. I love Ben Davison in his corner as well. I think they work really well together. And Dillian's just too old now. I mean, look at Usyk. He's 38, I guess. But Dillian has been in way many wars than someone like Usyk. And I think getting knocked out brutally 3 times. He's literally got a son older than Moses. And it will be sad to see Moses splatter him in a couple of rounds if that happens. If Dillian wins, fair play to him. Good luck to him. And I hope if Moses does win, Dillian at least takes him some rounds and at least chin checks him. But at the age of 37, I just don't see Dillian pulling it off. I really don't. I think this would be one of the biggest upsets in years if he'd done it. And I think, it's very easy to sell Dillian because of his previous wins on his record and because he is always a ferocious fighter normally, but he's not been that for years now. And when we look back at Dillian's career, even though he's failed multiple drug tests, we will look back and think, you know what, he gave us some great nights, some great memories, but he was also, even in his prime, very beatable. So yeah, Moses inside 3 rounds for me, but good luck to Dillian, and I hope he gives him a good fight. The undercard is very good as well. Stacked card. We've got Nick Ball in the co-main, defending his WBA featherweight title against Sam Goodman. I think Nick Ball will stop Goodman late in an absolute firefight. Goodman's unbeaten, but not the biggest puncher in the world, and I think Ball will walk through him in the end. Gutted to lose Ray Ford against Anthony Kakachi. That was a banger of a fight, but unfortunately Kakachi had to pull out due to a back injury. In step Abraham Nova, who's a former world title challenger. I think he'll give it his best shot, but ultimately, Ray Ford will outbox him over 12 rounds. And also Filip Hrgovic against David Adelaide. Fantastic fight in the heavyweight division. I did not see this one coming, but fair play to Adelaide. I mean, why would he take the Jamie TKV rematch when this is a much bigger fight for more money? And if he can chin Hrgovic, he puts himself in line for a massive fight in the heavyweight division. But I do think he's banging trouble in this one. Hrgovic has got a granite chin. He took so much leather from Daniel Dubois. Got stopped in the end, but he didn't go down. And Adelaide is going to have to hit him with a shot from the gods. But he does have the power to do it. It's not just a case of, oh, he's a heavyweight, he's got a puncher's chance. I think all Adelaide is power. Technically not the best. Jamie TKV was outboxing him comprehensively. And then obviously we had the shot after the ref had called break twice and the rest is history. But I think Adelaide probably would have got a Jamie TKV anyway. We'll never know, but who cares now? It's all good. I'm sure this will be a fun fight while it lasts. I think Hrgovic will stop Adelaide late. But yeah, really good card. About time we got a Saudi show. It's been a while, so it should be an absolute banger. Buzzing for it all. It'll be nice to watch the full card and not just the main event. Hopefully Dillian doesn't wear these pink hand wraps in Saudi. I think he's going to be in enough trouble with Moses on the 16th. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway, guys, am I chatting absolute shit as per usual? Subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all on the next one.